March 7th, 1968. Fred Rogers was sitting in his office at WQED Studios, holding a letter. It wasn't the first letter like this he'd received. It wouldn't be the last, but this one was different. This one broke his heart. Dear Mr. Rogers, my name is Michael. I'm 6 years old. My daddy went to Vietnam 3 months ago. My mommy says he's fighting bad guys so we can be safe, but I'm scared. What if my daddy doesn't come home? What if the bad guys hurt him? I have nightmares every night. I dream that my daddy is gone and never comes back. Can you help me not be scared? Michael Fred set the letter down and stared out the window for a long time. It was 1968. The Vietnam War was at its peak. Over 500,000 American troops were deployed. Thousands were dying. And millions of children like Michael were terrified that their fathers might never come home. No one on children's television was talking about it. The networks had an unspoken rule. Don't mention the war. Don't upset children. Don't make parents uncomfortable. Pretend it's not happening. Fred Rogers decided to break that rule. And what happened next would make him one of the most controversial figures on television and get him banned from every military base in America. February 1968. The decision the letters had been coming for months. Children asking about war, about death, about fathers and brothers who had gone to Vietnam and might not come back. Fred read every single one, and with each letter, his conviction grew. I have to address this. I can't pretend this isn't happening. He called a meeting with his production team. I want to do an episode about war, Fred said. The room went silent. His producer, Margie Whitmer, spoke first. Fred, you can't. The war is too controversial. Parents don't want their children thinking about Vietnam. But children are already thinking about it, Fred said quietly. Their fathers are over there. Their brothers are over there. They're having nightmares. And we're pretending it's not happening. Fred, if you do an episode about Vietnam, you'll lose sponsors. You'll get complaints. The network might even cancel the show. Then they cancel the show. But I can't ignore these children. Fred opened his desk drawer and pulled out a stack of letters. Dozens of them. All from children asking about war, about death, about fear. This is why I have to do it, Fred said. Because they're scared. And they don't know how to talk about it. And no one is helping them. The team was quiet. Finally, his music director, Johnny Costa, said, "What are you going to say?" Fred took a deep breath. I'm going to tell them the truth. That war is real. That sometimes people go away and don't come back. And that it's okay to be scared. But that the people who love them are still there. And that they're not alone. Fred worked on the script for 2 weeks. He wrote draft after draft, trying to find the right words. Words that would be honest, but not terrifying. Words that would acknowledge the reality of war without traumatizing young children. This is what he finally wrote. Fred appears on screen, sitting in his living room. Fred. Hello, neighbor. Today I want to talk about something that some of you might be thinking about. Some of you might have people you love who have gone far away. Maybe they've gone to a place where there's a war. And you might be worried about them. It's okay to feel worried. It's a very normal feeling when someone you love is far away, especially in a place that might be dangerous. War is when countries disagree so much that they fight. And sometimes people get hurt in wars. Sometimes people even die. That's a very sad and scary thing. And it's okay if you feel sad or scared when you think about it. Sometimes people we love go away and they don't come back. That's one of the hardest things in the whole world. But even when that happens, the love we have for them doesn't go away. Love is something that lasts forever. And even though we might be scared, we can still find people who will help us. People who will listen to us. People who will hold us when we're sad. You are a very special person. And the people who love you will always love you, no matter what happens. Fred pauses. Looks directly into the camera. Fred, if you're worried about someone you love who is far away, it might help to talk to a grown-up about it. Someone you trust. Tell them how you're feeling. Because feelings are very important. And when we share our feelings with people who care about us, it can help us feel a little bit better. Fred read the script to his team. No one said anything for a long moment. Then Margie said quietly, Fred, you're telling children that their fathers might die. You're going to terrify them. No, Fred said. I'm acknowledging what they're already terrified of. And I'm telling them it's okay to feel scared. That they're not alone. That's not the same as terrifying them. That's validating their feelings. Parents are going to be furious. Some will, but some will be grateful that someone finally helped dare. Children talk about what they've been too scared to say out loud. March 15th, 1968. The episode aired on March 15th, 1968. Within hours, the phones at WQED started ringing. Some parents were grateful. Thank you. My son has been having nightmares about his father in Vietnam, and he didn't know how to talk about it. After your episode, he came to me crying and told me he was scared. And we were finally able to talk about it. But many parents were furious. How dare you tell my child that her father might die? She's 6 years old. She doesn't need to know about death. You've traumatized my son. He's been crying all day because you told him people don't come back from war. This is disgusting. Children's television should be happy and safe, not full of death and war. The network received hundreds of complaints. And then, 3 days after the episode aired, Fred received a different kind of letter. This one was from the Pentagon. The Pentagon letter. Dear Mr. Rogers, we are writing to express our deep concern regarding the episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood that aired on March 15th, 1968. Your decision to discuss the Vietnam War with young children was, in our assessment, irresponsible and damaging to national morale, at a time when our servicemen are fighting for freedom and democracy. Your program has frightened children and undermined support for our troops. We are formally requesting that you refrain from discussing the war in future episodes. Such content is not appropriate for children's television and does not serve the interests of the American people. Furthermore, we are recommending that public broadcasting service stations on military bases discontinue airing Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood until such time as you can guarantee that your program will not contain anti-war or demoralizing content. Respectfully, Department of Defense Office of Public Affairs. Fred read the letter 3 times. Then he called his team into his office. They want me to stop talking about the war, Fred said. And they're banning the show on military bases. What are you going to do? Margie asked. Fred was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, I'm going to do another episode. What? I'm not done. I did one episode acknowledging that war exists and that people might not come back. But I didn't talk about grief. I didn't talk about what happens when someone you loved is die. And there are children who need to hear that. Fred, the Pentagon just asked you to stop. If you do another episode, you'll make this worse. I'm not trying to make anything worse. I'm trying to help children. And right now, there are children whose fathers have died in Vietnam. And no one is helping them understand what that means. You'll lose military base audiences completely. Then I'll lose them. But I won't abandon the children who need help. Episode 2, March 29th, 1968. 2 weeks later, Fred aired a second episode. This one was even more explicit. Fred appears on screen. Fred, hello, neighbor. Last time we talked, We talked about what it's like when someone you love goes far away to a place where there's a war. And some of you told me that talking about it helped you feel a little bit better. Today, I want to talk about something even harder. Sometimes, people we love die. They go away, and they don't come back. Ever. That is the saddest, hardest thing in the whole world. When someone dies, it means their body stops working. They can't breathe anymore. They can't move anymore. They can't talk anymore. And we can't see them or touch them anymore. That makes us feel very, very sad. And that's okay. Sadness is a very important feeling. Some of you might have had someone you love die. Maybe it was someone who went to war and didn't come back. And you might feel angry, or confused, or like there's a big empty space inside you where that person used to be. All of those feelings are okay. And even though the person who died isn't here anymore, the love you have for them is still here. Love doesn't die. Love lasts forever. The response was even stronger this time. More complaints. More anger. And on April 2nd, 1968, PBS stations on all military bases in the United States stopped. AIRING Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Fred Rogers had been banned. April 1968. The fallout, the media pit. Up the story quickly. Mr. Rogers banned from military bases. Children's TV host Angie Pentagon with war talk. Fred Rogers, anti-war activist? Fred didn't respond to any of it. He just kept reading the letters. And for every angry letter from a parent, there were 3 grateful letters from children. Dear Mr. Rogers, my daddy died in Vietnam 2 months ago. I didn't understand what that meant. But after I watched your show, my mommy explained it to me. And I cried. But then I felt a little bit better. Because you said the love doesn't go away. Thank you for helping me understand. Sarah, age 7. Dear Mr. Rogers, I've been so scared that my dad won't come home. I have nightmares every night. But after you said it's okay to be scared, I told my mom. And she held me. And I still feel scared sometimes. But it's not as bad now. Thank you. Michael, age 6. Fred kept every single one of these letters. Years later, he would say that these letters were the reason he never regretted what he did. 1969. The ban continues for over a year. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was banned on military bases. Servicemen and women wrote letters asking for the ban to be lifted. My children can't watch Mr. Rogers anymore because of the ban. But they need his show. They're scared because I'm deploying to Vietnam next month. And Mr. Rogers is the only one who helps them understand their feelings. The Pentagon refused. Finally, in late 1969, after intense pressure from military families, the ban was quietly lifted. No announcement. No apology. The show just started airing on military bases again. But Fred Rogers never forgot. 1985. Fred reflects in 1985. Fred was interviewed about the Vietnam War episodes. Do you regret doing those episodes? The interviewer asked. Fred shook his head. No, I regret that it made some people angry. I regret that it caused controversy. But I don't regret helping those children. There were children who were terrified, who were grieving, who didn't know how to talk about what they were feeling. And everyone else was pretending the war didn't exist. I couldn't do that. I couldn't look at those letters from scared children and pretend everything was fine. So I told them the truth, as gently as I could. And I told them it was okay to feel what they were feeling. Some people thought that was wrong. The Pentagon thought I was hurting morale. But I wasn't talking to the Pentagon. I was talking to children. And those children needed someone to acknowledge their fear, to tell them they weren't alone. That's what I did. And I'd do it again. 2003. The legacy. Fred Rogers died on February 27, 2003. Among his belongings, His family found a box. Inside were hundreds of letters, all from the late 1960s, all from children who had watched the Vietnam War episodes. One letter, dated April 1970, stood out. Dear Mr. Rogers, my name is Michael. I wrote to you 2 years ago when I was 6. I told you I was scared my daddy wouldn't come home from Vietnam. My daddy did come home last month. And when he came home, I told him about your show, about how you said it's okay to be scared. And my daddy cried. And he said he was scared too when he was over there. And then we talked. And it helped both of us. Thank you for teaching me that it's okay to feel things, even scary things. Michael, age 8. At Fred's funeral, a veteran stood up to speak. I was in Vietnam in 1968, he said. I was 22 years old, terrified, watching my friends die, and I had a 6-year-old son back home. And I didn't know how to talk to him about where I was or what I was doing. Then my wife told me about Mr. Rogers, about how he did an episode about the war, about how it helped my son talk about his fear. And when I came home broken, traumatized, I watched that episode, and I cried, because Fred Rogers did something no one else had the courage to do. He told the truth to children about war, about death, about fear. And in doing so, he helped my son. And he helped me. Fred Rogers didn't just help children understand their feelings. He helped all of us understand that feelings matter, that fear is real, that grief is valid. And that we don't have to face these things alone.